I partly wanted to do something different, and I thought that I definitely wanted to write a book about the government because I was living in China at the time, and the Chinese internet control made me really aware of how the internet works and how GPS works, and all these devices that we use supposedly for our own benefit. They really have a sinister side, which is that they're recording tons of information about us, and I wanted to do something that gave a picture of that, because I think that kids specifically, but most people who use this technology, they really don't have much awareness of exactly how significant it is that so much information is being stored. And so, yeah, that was my primary concern at the time, and so I just wanted to write a book. There's no way you can write a book about like that and still use the same characters that I usually use. If you want to mimic the power of the corporate state, then really the only way you can give a single character that power is telepathy. That was the only way I could think. I mean, other than make him like Superman or something, which was not medically explainable. So I went with telepathy because it essentially gives him access to all private information. So it's basically the same thing. It raises a lot of interesting questions. I mean, I have no idea why it's so against the rules to drug athletes. It's like, they wear glasses in baseball. What's the difference between that and shooting steroids if you ride in the Tour de France? Basically, what it came down to in the Tour de France is who has the best doctor, which I think is kind of interesting. It's like a medical exhibition. It seems hypocritical to me not to do that, not to make it illegal. I could use the same number of drugs that Lance Armstrong used, and I couldn't do what he did. So yeah, I mean, there's still a core ability. There's still a lot of other things there. But if everybody has access to these drugs, why not just have everybody blood dope, and then you see what happens? You wear braces. You wear, cleats. You wear glasses. You wear all kinds of things as an athlete. Well, why not you use technology every day to improve your game? So why if you suddenly start doing it internally, is it such a big deal? I don't know. Maybe, somebody can explain it to me, the difference. I'm not married to that position. Yeah, I think that people really don't have an awareness of how much it's changed because of all this new all this new technology, the GPS, internet, everything we do now is recorded. People on Facebook, they're putting up comments that they feel momentarily that are being recorded and preserved for the rest of their lives. It's kind of like you're getting a tattoo every day, and the permanence of very minor comments really changes the way we interact, and I think it makes us more cautious around each other. It makes us less likely to form bonds, and I think it makes us more passive citizens. And so I think it's got a very sinister side to it, even though it does provide amazing, technological advantages. I kind of have to. I travel constantly. I'm always in different cities and towns, and it's good to not get lost all the damn time. So yeah, I use a lot of that. I need email, if you want to function in this world. But being aware of it means that you also take some kind of precaution to not just give your information away. I use VPNs, which aren't particularly secure, but I use, if I have anything I want to share that I feel is secure, I'll either do it in person or use other software. And I try not to sync too much technology together. But yeah, I have to use it. I'm sure anybody who wanted to could find out anything they wanted about me. My influence, a lot of American writers. Bukowski, I always say him. I like Bukowski. Kurt Vonnegut. They both have a very simple, short, brief, and effective way of writing. They choose their words very carefully, and they don't use too many of them, which I like. I like that about Raymond Carver too. Jack London. British authors, I'd say Aldous Huxley. I think everything I've written actually is transferable. They're pretty simple stories. But, you know, to get involved with the film industry like that, there's so many things that have to fall into place in order for a movie to be made. Un Petit Boulot was in process for 10 years before it finally got made. We got our first offer on it in 2004, and it got made in 2014. So yeah, I mean, if you could drive yourself mad just hoping for movies, but I just got really lucky, and I got 2 coming out in the next year. American film companies were screwing around for about 6 years, and then the French bought the rights, and they held on to them for 4 for Un Petit Boulot. So it seems very difficult to get a movie made in Hollywood for them to find financing. I think the French just have a little more direct line, and they also make cheaper films. You don't need as big a budget. Oh, it's wonderful. I love it. Yeah, it's amazing seeing something you've written on, like on a big screen. It's yeah, it's a high. Yeah. It's an adaptation. It's not exactly loyal to the book, but Gilles is a lot more positive person than I am, and so he's made a more positive film, which is nice. You know, I wish the real, the true story it had ended on had ended that way, but he's got a message in there which is a little bit more positive than mine. As far as I know, they don't know I'm alive, so they've never expressed a lack of interest. But you know, this particular book, there are lots of Coen Brothers kind of naturalist occurrences in there, which I think that would match them. Partly because I haven't really put much of an effort into making myself known in the United States. I don't think it's worth your while. They no longer have a network of bookstores. Pretty much all the books sold in brick and mortar stores in the US now are sold in large box stores like Barnes & Noble. Borders actually went out of business. Or they're bought online at Amazon. And so there are still a lot of Western cities and a couple, I mean, New York City obviously has some good bookstores, but you know, for the most part, in small towns, if you had a town like Vienne, you know, the size of Vienne in the U.S., there wouldn't be a bookstore in it. So that network just doesn't exist. It makes it difficult to promote books. The publishers are completely gun shy. They're so risk averse. It's horrifying dealing with them, and they have formulas for trying to find successful books. And the formula seems to be just write me a book exactly like the last bestseller. That's all they're looking for, you know. I'm making a living, but I'm not living a lavish lifestyle. You know, I support myself just like traveling around. I don't have a lot of bills. I don't own a car. But yeah, I can get by. It's fun. I'm trying to work on a radio show right now. Radio Arte Radio. Which one is it?
Arte.
Yeah. Arte. Yeah. And I'm doing some pieces for them. And I'm just trying to do different things for a while. I'm doing a small book about China, about experiences teaching English in China for Liana Levi. But no major novel, unless maybe a sequel to that, which I haven't decided on yet. Oh, I love it. Yeah. Yeah, this has been amazing.